Well, hello! My name is Vid, and today I'm going to show you a super simple auto crafting setup using the brand new crafter block in Minecraft 1.21. All you're going to need for this build is the new crafter block, plus about 9 pieces of redstone dust, 5 stone or building blocks, 1 comparator, 1 piece of glass, a hopper, and then maybe a couple barrels if you want to use them for input or output. This first design is going to be really handy if you want to just craft a bunch of blocks from, say, ingots. Like if you've got a single item that you want to craft either up or down. So for example, turning iron blocks into iron ingots or turning iron ingots into iron blocks. We're going to start by placing down the crafter. Then on top of that, we're going to put down a hopper. This is how we're going to feed items into the crafter. On top of the hopper, let's put down a barrel and then another barrel in front just to accept the output here. Behind the crafter, we're going to put a block, then a comparator coming out of that, and then 3 pieces of dust. 1, 2, 3, followed by another block. Oops, not that one. Now working backward from the block, we're going to put 1 piece of glass on top of that redstone, and then 3 more blocks right above the redstone we've already created. Finally, we're going to take our remaining redstone and go right on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, the last block right down there. And that's the whole setup. The next thing we want to do is look at the crafter and decide on the recipe we're going to use. In this case, I have a bunch of iron ingots and I want to craft them all down into iron blocks. And as soon as I fill in the entire crafting recipe, the comparator is going to give me a strong enough output signal to automatically fire the crafter. So just like that, it happens, and I get my iron block in here. This is perfect as an output to an iron farm, for instance, where I can just drop all of my iron blocks in here, and then you can watch the crafting happen. Every time the crafter fills up, it's going to spit out a brand new block. It's also smart enough to know that even though there's lots of different crafting recipes, it's going to wait until the crafter is totally full before it fires it out. And in the chest, that's where we have our output. Now let's say you did want to use a different recipe, perhaps one that actually makes iron bars. In that case, pretty simple to modify this contraption. All we've got to do is disable some of these slots, and of course, these will output a redstone signal just like having a block in its place. So as soon as I click this, it's going to start crafting iron bars for me. Now I can fill the rest of my ingots into the top and then just watch the iron bars as they get crafted and plopped into place. Again, this works particularly well for recipes that only use a single type of item to convert into something else. As an added bonus, when the machine runs out of materials, it'll just pause and wait for the machine to continue filling before it continues crafting. So what happens if we want to craft something with a much more complicated recipe, something like observers? Well, we can make a tiny modification to this circuit and accomplish crafting just about any item in the game. To modify this machine, we're going to need 9 redstone dust, 2 temporary blocks, 1 building block, 9 droppers, now make sure they are droppers and not dispensers, 1 repeater, and 10 hoppers. The first thing we're going to do is remove this barrel. We don't really need it, but I do need to make sure it doesn't end up in the crafter at all. I'm also going to temporarily remove this comparator, and the only reason I'm doing that is because I want to make sure that the machine doesn't start crafting before I'm finished building it. So let's just remove that. Now we're going to place our 1 building block down right here and 2 temporary blocks, 1, 2. This is going to allow us to place our 9 droppers in a row, starting with this one right here. That's 1, then 2, then 3, and 9. Next, we're going to need the hoppers, and all we're going to do is put them right into here. So shift and 1, 2, 3, and 10. That's all of them. Now we're going to come back around and put our repeater right down here, facing into all of our droppers. And then up on top, I'm going to hold shift while I place the redstone dust, 9 pieces on top of each of the droppers. And that is pretty much it. We can now remove those temporary blocks as well. We don't need them anymore. And now we just need to decide what recipe we're going to build. In this case, I said I was going to build observers, so let's take a quick look at the observer recipe. That would be 3 cobblestone on top, followed by redstone quartz, followed by 3 cobblestone on the bottom. And that will be what gives us the observer. Now, the nice thing is, these crafters will take in items in order from left to right, top to bottom, and that's why I've laid out the items that we need to put in the droppers up here. So you can see this is the top row, cobble, cobble, cobble. Then we've got the middle row, redstone quartz, and then the bottom row, cobblestone, cobblestone, cobblestone. And all of these droppers we're just going to fill with all of the items that we need. Put the quartz in there, put the redstone in there, and hopefully everything is just going to kind of work. So let's put the comparator back right there. And now we do need to kickstart this machine one time. After that, it will work automatically. But we do have to make sure our crafter is completely empty and ready to receive the recipe. And we'll just push the button one time. That'll fire everything into the dropper, and we should see the items all filtering in. And when it fills up, boom, it's crafted an observer. And you can see it's going to wait until it gets all the items and then craft another. And of course, our observers are now just being placed into the barrel as they are crafted. Now let's say you wanted to make a recipe that uses slightly less than the full set of 9 blocks. For example, we want to craft redstone lamps. Well, just remember that the recipe is going to go in from left to right, top to bottom. So all we need is redstone, redstone, glowstone, redstone, redstone. And I've set that up right here. So we've just got the 5 components right here, and these droppers are all full exactly that way. We are going to make sure that we've locked the 4 corners of the recipe, because now we only want this sort of plus shape to be filled in. Let's make sure our comparator gets back in there. By the way, without the comparator, I can just push the button. That'll fire the droppers to bring everything into here. And now I can just push the dropper again, which will simultaneously craft and fill the droppers again. So I'm getting my redstone lamps, and every time I push the button, it'll just craft a new one and refill. Or I could just put that comparator back in here, and now it should automatically fill and craft as many times as I want. Hopefully you found this tutorial quick and easy, and now you know how to craft any item in the game using the brand new crafter block in Minecraft 1.21. See you in the next one!